Welcome to the TFO Choco-Show, a weekly review show of the TFO Season 5 weekly games. And we're going to go over the Week 1 games right before we show off the Week 2 kickoff, the Thursday night football game that's at 8 o'clock tonight between the Cleveland Steamers and the Atlanta Maulers. That should be an epic. But before we can enter Week 2, let's look back at Week 1. One of the things I want to do in this show is talk about the 3 best games I saw last week. The best bad game, the best mad game, and the best TFO game. So you know what? Let's kick it! So the bad game of the week, for me anyway, was the TMNT Torturers taking on them dirty 90s sluts in a Saturday night special. I mean, there was a lot of great things about this game, but one thing I want to point out was the revolutionary commentary by Jim Shock. Cowboy Jim is by far the greatest announcer since good old JR, and I'm proud to say that hillbilly Hickton, well, he's my friend, and I think that the HTH have a great season ahead of them this season with a leader that's willing to put on the 12-gallon hat. But talking about what happened on the field that night, the Torturers etched out the Sluts by 3 points in overtime. It was an amazing game where the Dirty 90s Sluts were down by 17 points in the fourth quarter, but they were able to get 2 onside kicks and even blocked a field goal to take it into overtime. But you know, the Turtles, they just got that super shredder. He was amazing. Only 5 carries for 167 yards. Splinter was on tap with a 69% completion, almost 400 passing yards, 5 of those to Leonardo for 252. It was just too much for the Sluts to take. The Turtles were able to etch them out. It was an amazing game. If you didn't go see it, watch it on demand. Great game. The mad game of the week, for me anyway, was the Whiplash Raiders taking on the Lost Survivors. This one I thought was a great contest, with the Raiders etching out the Survivors by 6. 27 points were scored in the fourth quarter alone in this matchup. Just amazing. But in the end, it was E. Dickey, the quarterback of the Whiplash Raiders, that really solidified what they were doing. He might only have a 45% completion and 208 yards, but he had 4 passing touchdowns and has the greatest quarterback rating in TFO right now with a 239.9. So we got to give it to Dickey. We got to give it to the offense of the Raiders. They were able to come back there when it looked like they were defeated. You can't count Whiplash out, because if you do, whoosh, they gonna whip you. And lost it there in the end. You know, you got to keep it going the entire time. And my TFO game of the week for Week 1 was the Disney Dissidents 2 Electric Boogaloo taking on the DBZ Squad. And what I can say is probably the most shocking thing that I've seen in TFO in a long time, Broly was a steamroller. He was epic. Just the whole game was epic. There was 806 rushing yards combined between both these teams. That is insanity, along with 100 passing yards, 906 yards total in this game. We almost got a 1,000-yard game here. Just incredible. 55 rush plays total, because you got to run against a run, and they just kept running that ball, and running that ball. 23 first downs. Insanity. But you know what? The Disney Dissidents 2, the Electric Boogaloo, don't be sad. I think you did amazing here, especially with Goku at 100% completions and Broly running 21 times for 450 yards. 7 touchdowns by Broly. And really, this was a back and forth matchup right until the end. The Dissidents 2 got held on their last drive and weren't able to make it into the end zone. They were on their side of the field. If they just could have etched it in, we probably would have been going to overtime. They would have at least tried to kick the onside kick. The squad looks like they went up even more just because they got additional points at the end of the game there. So I think the DD2 Dissidents, they're going to be good this season, so don't count them out. But Broly, wow, what a beast. And that brings me to my player of the week, which obviously has to be Broly. That man was smoking. Legendary Broly showed why he wants to be legendary. And I know Seth has really worked hard to make the DBZ squad something special. He's tired of John Balog making fun of him, bitching, moaning, and complaining. Nope. Seth ain't going to do that. Instead, he's going to let his actions on the field show. And people might say, oh, this was a lucky game. Or, oh, you got tech mode or whatever. But you know what? We're going to see going forward what Broly can do. Because honestly, if he keeps this up, the sky is the limit for that dude. He broke the game last year, if you remember correctly. He ran more than 255 attempts during a season. And he ran 21 times in this game. And I'm not really good with math, but 21 times 16 tells me he gonna do it again, folks. So keep an eye on him. He's obviously an early leader for Offensive Player of the Year. Now that brings us to bad total offense. The Ninja Turtles and Squad are up there. The Sluts and Dissidents are up there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's obvious why I picked those games. Just the amount of yardage that was obtained there is incredible. Topping out the 10 there, you got the World's Warriors, Cleveland Steamers, DC Universe, the Racists, the Raider All-Stars, and even though they have kind of a shitty offense, you got the Maulers too. The Atlanta Maulers, because they got that sting running. So keep an eye on them. For bad total defense, the Stellar Offenders looked stellar with their defense, only allowing 8 rush yards, probably because they were going against more of a pass-heavy team. So as we get more weeks in here, that will clear up who is a better defense. We got the Weapon X's up there. They're only 1 yard behind the Offenders. The World's Warriors, they're up there. They're only 11 yards back. And then you got the Cleveland Steamers, the Racists, the Hollywood Heroes, Kinky K, Raider All-Stars, DC Universe, and the Azrothian Assassins. So those are some teams you should keep in the back of your mind for the bad. When it's coming to the mad, though, you got those Raiders, those Whiplash Raiders, tied for first with the Street Fighters, 344. Both those squads looked incredible in Week 1. We got the Cosmic Defenders coming in at number 3. Westeros Guardians at number 4. Both the Defenders and Guardians are previous TFO champions, so you know they're going to be hard as hell to beat. Pokeballers up there. Lost Survivors. Venture Industries. Them honky-tonk hitman. Greek Legends. And the Rap Kings round up the top 10 for the mad total offense. When we're hitting up the defense, them Cowboys, them Hitmen, 21 yards allowed total. They stopped the messy man. They stopped the soccer world. People are saying it's luck. I'm saying that 12-gallon hat is giving them power. Street Fighters up there at number 2. They're number 1 and number 2 for defense and offense. So that's, or offense, defense, well, however you want to say it, I don't care. Robot Masters at number 3, them Fantasy Sevens number 4, Rap Kings number 5, Venture Industries 6, Champs Chumps 7, Rainbow Unicorns, I love the Unicorns 8, them South Jersey Slashers at 9, and Westeros Guardians pulling up the 10th slot. So, and look, the soccer world's number 11, I want to give them a shout out. They fought them Hitmen, the Honky Tonk Hitmen. I think that's a hard squad. So, only allowing 265 yards in that contest, I think that's marvelous. Marvelous! So that's also going to bring us to the Week 1 injuries. Now, I've gotten a lot of flack about how many injuries are going on, so I wanted to point out everybody that's injured currently. This year, we're not going to tell you if they're coming back yet or not, because there's no fantasy implications because of this. So, but it's nice to see who's out. One thing that I noticed right away is the amount of multiple players taken out on teams. You got the Azrothian Assassins missing both their running backs, and they're a running team. You've got 3 players from the Eggers, their quarterback and their running back and their backup running back. They're a running squad, so they can't run it, they can't pass it, and a lot of people were saying that's the only reason them Cleveland Steamers were victorious last week. Then the Rap Kings, their wide receiver 2 and tight end, both out. South Jersey missing running back 1 and running back 2. So there are some squads out there that are missing a lot of players. Now, one thing I keep hearing is people saying, well, the injuries are a lot. Well, compared to last season and the previous seasons, not really. I'm not saying that it's not more, but the problem is that we have 8 more teams in TFO this season. So injuries are going to be a thing. The injury percentage was increased just slightly, just like by a point percentage. So not by much. But obviously people are scared of it. Obviously, mentally, it's affecting you. So watch it. If you see that your team's doing shitty because your backups are shitty, that's a sign next season that you need to put some points in them backups. Backups matter. And in TFO, we're going to make it great again. We're going to make TFO great again. And one way we're going to do that is by talking about them players, them backup players, and getting them in the games. It's not all about your starters, bitches. So now in this segment, I'm just going to scroll on the screen the scores of the games that occurred this week, or week 1, while I talk about things happening in TFO. The thing that I like to call this the Commissioner's Corner. Because yes, I am the owner, and I've returned as commissioner this season since Ryan Anderson had to give up his commissionerism in a settlement against Hollywood Heroes owner Clayton Willis. There was some rumors that Mr. Anderson shot and tried to kill Al Bundy last year. Obviously, during that week 1 game, we saw Al Bundy is not the same as he had been previously. So it looks like that it has affected him in some way. I'm hoping Al's getting better. I think Peggy Bundy's to blame. I think she's finally getting to him. It's kind of like season 1 of Married with Children where he wanted all that sex and he was loving it. But then seasons after that, he was trying to stay away from the red monster. She was scaring the crap out of him. She wanted all the sex, and he was like, please get away from me. And I think Al Bundy is having that right now. He went from offensive player of the year for bad to, I don't know what to call Al Bundy anymore. I hope you get better, Al. I hope you get better. So 2 big things I wanted to talk about here. First is player safety. So with all these injuries, people are talking about the TFO isn't safe anymore, that owners are putting hit lists, bounties. I've heard people say TFO bounty gate. You know what? I really just want to get this clear right now. TFO, we take injuries seriously. We take owners threatening other owners seriously. And the fact of the matter is, we encourage it. We want you to injure those players. We want you to make fun of your opponent. This is TFO. This ain't ballet. This ain't the NFL, the no fun league. Injuries happen. People get made fun of. Blimps have cheesy poofs on them. Get over it, ladies. It is time for you to pull up your panties and get out there on that TFO field and fight for your lives. There are 36 teams. 16 of you ain't going to make the playoffs. That's a fact, Jack. 8 of you are going to get wild card slots, so you're going to have to fight in round 1 matchups. That's a fact. Who's going to make it? Who's going to be the champ? I'm going to tell you what. The person that's not going to be the champ is the one whining and crying and bitching and moaning and complaining because they're not going to be in the playoffs because they suck. So stop sucking. Start making fun of your people. Start memeing. Start making video. I don't care. Do what you got to do to encourage your team. And injuries, well, they're going to keep coming. So get over it. Make injuries. Do what the Cleveland Steamers do. How proud should we be of the Cleveland Steamers? They were losing that game against the Schwarzeneggers. The Schwarzeneggers look like the better team. And then the Cleveland Steamers, they started to play dirty. And I'm not talking throwing scat. They were throwing injuries. And they injured 3 of the great Eggers, cracked them open, made some omelets, and got a last-second touchdown for the victory. You want to be successful like the Cleveland Steamers, the Titan Bowl champions? Then you might have to play a little dirty. Don't get shit on your hands. And then the last thing I want to talk about here in the commish corner is this whole divisional reshuffling that I see some owners talking about. So first off, I've always tried to make TFO a friend affair. I know all of you in some way, shape, or form. Really, there's only a couple owners that I didn't know before they got into TFO. The Argentina assassin, Juan. I didn't know him. He's new this season, the soccer world. I didn't know Costanza coming in. I've got to know him a little bit better, the South Park Cows. Matt Bodenheimer, the pizza making master. I didn't know him. He's actually, him and Juan are really the two that aren't associated with anybody in TFO. They just found out about TFO and they wanted to get involved. And they put themselves out there. We could have told them no. We could have told them, get the hell out of here. Who are you? But you know what? Matt took us to new states. And Soccer World, the name says it all. It brought us to the world. TFO isn't just an American commodity. It now is a global phenomenon. But because of that, the divisional reshuffle, as much as it pains me to even think that John Balog is right, I agree he is right. He's wrong about some things here. Because I ain't going to do it random. That's stupid. Because if we do it random, we're going to have similar issues that we had this year. We're going to have people being like, my division's too hard. How is this fair? And realistically, maybe we'll have one or two owners drop at the end of the season. We typically do. I don't know if we will or not. We might. But I'm really thinking that most of us are going to stay in TFO for, I'm going to say, the long haul. I think we've got the group now where it's to the point where I don't know how much new blood we're going to be infusing each season, because I think people want to stay, people want to play, people want to have fun. And because of that, I think what we'll do, and we can revisit this later, but I think your ranking this season will determine what division or who's placed in your division. And I really haven't sorted out or figured out the details of it. I mean, obviously, there are currently, 12 divisions. So the top 12 will be the first team in each division. And then 13 through 24 will be the second team in each division. And then 25 through 36, or whatever it is, I'm horrible with math, I hope that's right, will be the last team. I'm not going to change the divisional structure how it is now, because that's the way I want it going forward. And I know some people don't like that. I like how it is. I like 3 teams per division, 9 teams per conference. I mess this up all the time. You got your divisions, then your conference. Yeah. So it's 3 teams per division for 12 divisions. 9 teams per conference for 4 conferences. 18 teams per mad and bad, making a 36-team TFO. I like doing 2 ROMs. It made my life a lot easier this season, because then I didn't have to compress graphics and worry about space and have these other problems. So we are going to continue that going forward, but I do want to extend that hand and let you guys know that I'm aware that the divisions, and we don't know if they're lopsided or not. People are just assuming that based on, oh, well, I think that owner's good and this owner's shit. Things change each season. We don't know if an owner's good or an owner's shit. We have only 1 week of data. And if you are buying into this 1 week of data, then I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Because there are teams that 1 week won that are probably going to shit the bed. And there are teams that lost in week 1 that are going to get on hot streaks. And they're going to win. So we got a long season. But it's possible that a team could make the playoffs with 7 wins. Because they could win their division and the rest of the teams are crapped out in their division. Now, you will be playing the teams in your division 3 times this season. So that's 6 of your games. Then another 6 of those games are, you're going to play each team in the other divisions, but that are still in your conference. So that's 6 more. That makes 12, in case you don't know how to do math. And then 4 other games come from the opposite conference of the same league. So teams are roughly playing the same teams. So if you crap the bed and you don't make it, that's your fault. But if you can win your division, even if you only get 7 wins and you win your division, you're going to get a bye. Winning the divisions, all 3 division winners actually there's 12 of them, right? 12 divisions, everybody gets a bye if you get it's only the wild cards that have to play round 1. That's something to keep in mind. Okay, that makes it about 20 minutes, so I'm going to let you go. I got to get up to the booth here and get this Thursday Night Football recorded. So I will see you next Tecmo. Or this Tecmo. I will see you in a few minutes on Thursday Night Football.